What's going on? Is Anton from antondaniels.com. I appreciate you guys for continuing to rock with me, and thank you for taking these morning walks with me. And I plan on continuing these morning walks. I'm also going to be joining Snap. So I had a Snap before, but I plan on creating a new one because I don't have access to it because of my old phone number and my old email address. I don't know what that is, but we'll get there. Anyways, the thing that I want to talk to y'all about is what's more important than a national election? I'm going to say that again for the people in the back. What's more important than a national election? Shout out to the Lions. Shout out to Detroit. This city is awesome. This city is awesome. It is one of the best cities. I've met so many people walking out and about. I'm happy to be back home. I love visiting Atlanta. I love visiting Houston. I love visiting Dallas, Las Vegas, New York, all of these places. I'm just going to tell you, it's nothing like, I love home. I can move anywhere in the world that I want to live. I even love Bucharest. I wasn't expecting for Bucharest to be as awesome as it is. Romania, Amsterdam, Frankfurt, Germany. But I love Detroit. Anyways, aside from that, and shout out to the Lions. What's more important than a national election? I'm sure because a lot of you guys probably already read the title, so you know where I'm going with this. But let's just talk about it. Let's deep dive into it because it's not a surface level conversation. This is a very important thing, and I've went off on several of my friends over the last 5 days. I've had at least one, sometimes up to 3 different people that I feel like I needed to really have a deep dive with. And I try not to kind of have that uncle, fatherly type of thing, but sometimes I just got to go there because I don't understand people. And so when people then tell me, hey man, I don't want to wait in these long lines to vote, I don't want to participate in the process or anything like that, that bothers me. And the reason that it bothers me is because there are things that are more important than the national election when it comes to your well-being and what you're going to be dealing with on a daily basis. And that is the local election. Unfortunately, for a lot of these people, they are uninformed. The second thing that is unfortunate about is that if they don't get out and participate, then all of the things down ballot will affect them in a positive or a negative way, but they don't have a say-so. They don't get to participate in the process. So when you see what is happening in Chicago, for example, and that they got $1 billion deficit, but yet the mayor is still talking about investing in migrants and all of this other dumb stuff, while at the same time, businesses are leaving at a record rate. When you see people talk about what's happening over in Oakland, they literally trying to recall the mayor. Well, guess what? You could have determined whether or not the mayor was even in office in the first place if you had been more involved on a local level and a political spectrum. And politics is necessary. Listen, politics is in everything you do. Politics is in your own household, right? You have diplomacy when you're trying to convince people to do things that may not necessarily be aligned with what they think is the best, but then you have to have some level of negotiation, or you have to give a little to get a little. You have to have a bipartisan agreement in your own household. But for some reason, you think that you can just avoid it, and that's not the way that you be successful. You can't avoid life, and it's going to be chosen for you if you don't participate in the process. And so when I look at all of the things that I voted for down ballot, which was the millages that were happening in my area and in my city, the judges that were going to be presiding over certain benches, and they have 6-year terms, the regents for the University of Michigan, the governors over there at Wayne State University, the trustees at Michigan State University, and I might be getting the names mixed up a little bit, but the point is that I did research. When I look at the Senate and the Congress and you know, all of the people that are going to basically be determining the laws, or they're going to be lobbying in your interest, in your best interest, because there's things and funding that goes into your communities, there's funding that goes into your neighborhoods, there's funding that goes into your community colleges, your school district. I was looking at all of the different superintendents and the people that are going to preside over what happens and who manages the budget for the schools. Listen, it's different in New York than it is in California. It's different in California than it is in Idaho and Boise. It's different in Salt Lake City. Everywhere. Your county right? Your specific space, your city is going to be affected if you participate or you don't participate. Because if you don't know who your alderman is, if you don't know who your treasurers, your city council people, secretaries of state, do you know that, and I'm not saying that the secretaries of state is necessarily participating on this ballot election, but I think that they are. Double check me on that. Did you know that there were certain secretaries of state that was trying to get Trump removed from the ballot in their specific cities in the first place? Yes, which is why I called it election interference when they were trying to throw all of these charges on them in New York and in Fulton County. If you don't understand what's happening in this election, and we are, as of the recording of this video, see, it's always the broke ones that talk like that. 1 day away from determining who's going to be not only the president of the United States of America, the vice president, and all of the other stuff that's happening in your local elections. And that's why when you see off-cycle years on off-cycle years, it's even worse as far as the participation rate. What you see happen in these urban communities is that not only are the people that's showing up uninformed, they just tell y'all to get out and vote because they expect y'all to vote a certain way based off of your demographics, based off of the color of your skin. They know that you tend to go with identity politics instead of the person that's best for the office. And so it is incredibly important. This is probably the most important election of my lifetime. But at the same time, it's also very, very important on a local level. And that's another reason why it's very important. Some cities is crashing out. My city in particular is thriving. We have a budget surplus, not a deficit like over in Chicago. We have growth. It's actually down in crime in multiple different neighborhoods. And I can actually go through, and we have the technology now to pinpoint which areas need to be, allocate more police resources, community resources, whatever. And so we can make that decision and we can have that conversation with the people that are in our legislative offices. Every Tuesday here in the city of Detroit, they have a city council meeting to determine what they're going to fund and what petitions and what can move forward and what doesn't move forward, right? Some of the things that I was talking to some of the operators on the People Mover. The People Mover is the little above in-air little train system that takes you to different neighborhoods inside of downtown Detroit. One of the things that, I'm not gonna say no names, one of the things that the people that work for the city of Detroit was telling me, because I was riding a People Mover and he was giving me a lot of insight, was that they're trying to replace the cabs for that and how that will benefit the city and stuff like that. So if you're not involved in your community, in your city, you just want to sit in the house all the time, that's not going to serve you. That's not going to benefit you. That's not going to be a thing that's conducive for your lifestyle or conducive for the people that you pay attention to and you love. I plan on really having an impact over the next 30 to 40 years inside of this city, which would then be passed on to my daughter. And so when I'm looking at what my investment stake is going to be and what my lifestyle is going to be, and more importantly, what that is passed down into my daughter, I want to create a space that's going to be conducive for her lifestyle also. So all I'm telling you guys is you need to get involved. Stop being lazy. Stop being stupid. Stop being ignorant. Stop not knowing everything and waiting on somebody else to educate you as a result of it. Don't wait for me to always do the research and then give you the insight and then give you the context, because then you can add into the conversation too. But the only way that you can do that is participate in the process. The more that you're interested, the more deep diving you're going to do and the more research you're going to get involved with. Don't wait until you old and you can't be used no more to start complaining and participating in what's going on out in these streets, right? So it's a great space. It's a great opportunity. It's great things that's happening. I know that over in that area right there, it's a Cosmos. It's only going to be one in LA, Atlanta, and Detroit. And it's like that virtual reality. I don't know. I'll tell you all about it later in another conversation. But I'm aware of the fact that they're going to be building that, and that'll be up in 2026 in a space where we used to have a basketball course over there, right there next to Campus Martius Park in downtown Detroit, built by Bedrock. I know this because I'm inside. I'm participatory, right? So all I'm saying is get involved. I love you. I appreciate you. Hopefully y'all do the right thing and y'all not voting based off of identity politics, but the thing that's best for you. I'm going to holler at you guys later. I'll see y'all on the Millionaire Morning Show.